Thank you, Chair James and Ambassador Hammer, Deputy Assistant Administrator Beckelman. Thank you so much for testifying before the subcommittee today on the state of U.S. policy towards Ethiopia. Ambassador Hammer, it's great to see you again after welcoming you in San Diego this summer to host the Ethiopian Diaspora Peace Conference and hear the perspectives of different Ethiopian diaspora communities so we can work together towards peace for the country and region. I have to admit, I wish we were in San Diego right now. I am cold, but I'm glad to see you again to further that conversation. I'm so proud to represent San Diego, a community that has a long history of welcoming migrants and refugees, including Ethiopians, with open arms. And San Diego is just a small portion of the United States' strong Ethiopian diaspora, which encompasses hundreds of thousands of immigrants who have close familial, social, and economic ties to Ethiopia, and makes up the second largest African immigrant group in the United States. This hearing is very timely. It has been over 1 year since the signing of the cessation of hostilities agreement in Pretoria between the government of Ethiopia and the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, but we have continued to see ongoing human rights violations in Tigray and across the country, as well as spreading conflict in Amhara, Afar, and Oromia. The war in northern Ethiopia and ongoing conflict have triggered a massive refugee and displacement crisis, even setting a world record for displacements in a single year. We've also seen the disruption of crops and increase in food prices, causing millions in the country to rely on food aid, which was temporarily paused due to its diversion. I'm incredibly relieved that food assistance resumed earlier this month, and I commend USAID's work in securing important reforms to prevent diversion and ensure food reaches those in need. But it was clear when I traveled to Ethiopia in 2021, and it's even more clear today. Many challenges remain to create long-lasting peace, safety, and security. Following the signing of the cessation of hostilities agreement, the focus must now be on implementing the rest of the agreement in a thoughtful way, pursuing a credible and inclusive transitional justice process that guarantees accountability for war crimes and ongoing human rights violations, and addressing long-held grievances across the country through an inclusive and transparent national dialogue process to prevent another large-scale war. The United States must also urge all parties to pursue peace processes to address ongoing conflict in Amhara and Oromia. Addressing these root causes from a long-term conflict prevention perspective should be central to U.S. policy toward Ethiopia. And this will require high-level attention and prioritization from the United States and the international community, including cooperation from key regional actors with broad influence like the UAE and Turkey. Ethiopia represents the future of the African continent and is the second most populous African country. It has the potential to be a stabilizing force for the region and across the continent. But as it experiences high inflation and economic stressors since the war, it is now more important than ever to invest in Ethiopia's long-term stability, which must include real accountability and reconciliation among Ethiopians. It's a key national security priority for the United States to keep its attention on Ethiopia and do everything we can to help secure a more promising future for Ethiopians. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you all about prospects for long-term peace and stability and how the United States can be best positioned to support Ethiopians in this pursuit, which will be critical for the region and the broader continent. Thank you. I go back.
Thank you very much. Other members of the committee are reminded that opening statements may be submitted for the record. And echoing my ranking member's sentiments, I'm very, very pleased to have you here today. The Honorable Mike Hammer is Special Envoy to the Horn of Africa, Bureau of African Affairs, U.S. Department of State. Tyler Beckelman is Deputy Assistant Administrator, Bureau for Africa, U.S. Agency for International Development. I thank you again each for being here today. Your full statements will be made a part of the record, and I'll ask each of you to please keep your spoken remarks to about 5 minutes, in order to allow for member questions. I now recognize Mr. Hammer for his opening statement. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, Chairman James, Ranking Member Jacobs. It is a pleasure to see you both again.